Hey there, so my name is Justin Stenstrom, if you don't already know, and I have suffered in the past from over 30 plus chronic symptoms, including most recently in the recent past was severe eczema and mast cell activation, rashes all over the skin, itchiness, and then previously, years before that, was severe neurological symptoms and a severe neurological condition which included things like memory issues, incredibly horrible sleep issues like REM behavioral disorder, and like a cognitive learning ability, processing ability, a delayed ability to learn new things, to comprehend things instantly in the moment, all these types of things. And then, of course, the migraines, the severe migraines that went in with all that. So it's been a long journey of suffering and trying to overcome these things. And previously, this was so 8 years ago, was really when I began to overcome these things, or really when I overcame these things was about 8 years ago. And for about 3 years before that was when I was suffering most from the neurological symptoms. And I suffered incredibly bad. It was days straight of no sleep, weeks straight of the worst migraine you can think of. REM behavioral disorders, when you act out your dreams violently, had that every single night for like years straight, pretty much. And when you do that, in my case, it was like violently punching myself in the face. So I'd wake up in the middle of the night to a violent fist punching myself somewhere in the face, which would give me some kind of like mild concussion almost, and then give me a headache or whatever like thereafter. So it took me a period of time, but I realized I had to start literally tying my hands down on the bed. So if I did like raise my arm up in the middle of the night, I would stop myself, prevent myself from hitting myself in the face, literally hit. And it's like not something I would obviously do on purpose. It was involuntary actions. That's an indication of a severe neurological issue going on. And so that's what I dealt with for years. The REM behavioral disorder lasted on and off. It was consistent for many, many months, like 6 months straight, and then it would be like every other night for like a year or so. So when I say years, I meant like every other or every couple of nights. But it was very consistent for at least 6 months, maybe closer to like 9 months straight, until I started trying everything and failing in all these diets and all these protocols and research and all types of things. And it took me 3 years before I figured something out, because I remember sitting on my couch one day had just finished trying like this latest new diet, this keto type of diet that I was working on for the last 3.5 months, and then realizing that it completely did not work whatsoever, and being completely down and out miserable because I knew I wasn't going to heal myself using this protocol, which I thought would work. And then I'm scrolling on my phone on like dejected, just kind of like, boring doom scrolling on my phone. And I come across this thing, and it's a Facebook post, and it happened to be this guy who was talking about these natural protocols. And long story short, that guy ended up being the medical medium. And that guy ended up, I was on his site for a few hours, ended up checking out a bunch of things, was actually kind of invigorated with hope for the first time in forever. And for some reason, what he was saying clicked with me. And so from that point forward, I got the book, the original book, ordered it right away, got the book within like 48 hours, read the whole thing cover to cover within like 24 hours after that, and immediately dove into starting to do what the medical medium was talking about, what Anthony William talks about in his books, of the protocols, the foundational stuff. Even back then I didn't really know what I was doing, but even having like the foundation of support immediately started making changes in my life, and started to slowly, very slowly in the beginning, slowly but steadily change my health over a period of time. And those foundational things, by the way, included celery juice, the heavy metal detox, getting off of the crazy high fat diet I was on at the time, lowering the proteins dramatically, and having more fruits and vegetables, literally just like exorbitant amounts throughout the day. And I did it this way for about a month or so, and started really enjoying what I was doing and really clicking with some of the things that the medical medium teaches. And so I just dove all in. I didn't like baby step it anymore. After about a month or so, I went full into it, did the 28-day cleanse, and that 28-day cleanse turned into 6 months straight of nothing but fruits and vegetables all day long, of getting exorbitant amounts of bananas and raspberries and strawberries and wild blueberries and mangoes and all these incredible fruits throughout the day. And then at nighttime, having as much fruits, having as much vegetables as possible, raw spinach, raw cucumbers, and even kind of like foolishly had like raw broccoli, which isn't the tastiest thing, and I actually never really went back to that. But I had like everything was raw, everything was organic, everything was fresh, and it was just raw fruits and vegetables all day long. I didn't even do, I added in the steamed potatoes after a few months into it, but that was the only thing I added in for that 6 month period. So even for like the first, I think it was first 2 or 3 months, it was literally nothing but raw fruits and veggies. And then I slowly, like after a few months of doing it, added in at the end of the night some steamed potatoes. But I went super ham. I went hardcore into this diet, and it completely changed my life. It was the best decision I ever made. So I continued it for about 6 months, and then I trailed off of just being super strict and crazy with the diet at about month 6, and I slowly added in like some quinoa, a little bit here and there. I slowly added in a little bit of lentils, which I enjoyed at night. And these are all at the end of the night things. But I slowly added in a little bit of that, kept the rest of the day as routine. But at the end of the night, I added a little bit more protein because I was losing a little bit more weight than I wanted to. So I added in some more calories at the end of the night, in particular protein, but still stayed away from the fats and did that for a year. So I had the quinoa, a little bit of rice, a little bit of lentils, and did that for the full year. And by the end of the 12 months, I completely got rid of all my neurological symptoms. Everything, all the migraines were gone. My sleep was back to normal, sleeping an incredible 7 to 9 hours every single night, restful sleep, no more REM behavioral disorder, no more having to tie my hands down because of the RBD, no more sleep apnea, no more of the, what else was there, chronic insomnia, no more of the sleep paralysis. None of that stuff, just completely eliminated. And the memory came back, the cognition came back, the processing came back. All of these things came back, and my brain literally got healed within that 1 year period. And this completely changed my life. Like my mindset from that point forward was like having a second, basically having a second chance at life. And that's how I truly felt. And so that was 8 years ago when I healed these neurological symptoms, over 8 years ago now. And my life was great for about 5 years after that. I maintained the same type of general protocol. So I've done the celery juice and the heavy metal detox for the past 8+ years, every single day, 8+ years. And by the way, if I knew more of like what I know today, I would have done a lot more things. I would have added a lot more to my repertoire, added more supplements into my repertoire. I was just doing the basics back then, and the basics, even alone, were still enough to heal this incredible, severe condition that I had. But I would have did a lot more, would have sped things up much quicker, in my view. But even doing that, like I've done that every single day for the last 8 years, and it's been a game changer. My brain came back fully, my energy came back fully, my sleep is back fully, all these things. My migraines are gone. But about 3 years ago now, I was sitting outside. It was in the early afternoon. I was doing some dishes in my old townhouse that I was in. And the house next to me was about 10, 12 feet away, whatever it is, something along those lines. Pretty close though. I'm sitting there doing the dishes. I look out the window. Next thing you know, I kind of turn for a second, then I look back. Next thing you know, the whole house in front of me is aflame, like literally on fire in front of me. And it was so hot, I could literally like feel the heat coming from that house. And it was pretty terrifying actually. And I was actually incredibly sick at the time. Like I had a really bad cold or something at the time and was just very like weak. Just it happened to be that way. But so like I was like worried, like I didn't know what to do. And thankfully within a couple of minutes, the firefighters came, they put the fire out. Everybody was out of the house already by then, so everybody was safe. But the whole house burned down from like the first 2 floors. It was a 3-story building. The first 2 floors completely burned down and was unlivable for like, a year after that. But I noticed right away, all the fumes from that fire started coming right into my house. And I tried to put up everything I could, tried all these air purifiers and all these systems and this and that, tried everything I could to block the smell from coming in, but it seeped right into the house. And for the next like 2 to 3 weeks, it was unbelievably powerful. It smelled like a burned rubber tire, like in your house all day long. And then it slowly started dissipating. But even months afterwards, you could still smell it to a lesser degree, but still a significant degree. You could still smell that smell. And it was just nothing you could do could get rid of it. And even if you tried to like open up the windows, you'd get more of the whiff coming right from the house itself. So there was like no escaping it. And if I knew what I knew now, I would have just moved out at the time. or at least temporarily for like a few months I would have moved away and then maybe came back. But I didn't really think of it at the time, to be honest. I overlooked that. And so long story short, going back to that, the day of the fire, within about 4 to 6 weeks max after the fire, I started getting spots all over my body. And the spots came on very slowly. But after a period of time, after a few months, it was very rapid. It was like expanding and growing in thickness and potency. And long story short, that was the severe eczema. So that was the beginning of it all. It happened from that fire, and from that point forward, over the next couple of years, it really, really took hold of me all over my body, in particular my hands, both of my hands and my arms as well, like down my arms. And as you can see from some of the pictures, it was really gruesome. It was gross. It was itchy. It kept me up at night. It was constantly getting infected. It would ooze. It was just gross. And I had to put different creams on it. I tried everything under the sun. And then I kind of realized that I had kind of gotten away from doing more of the strict medical medium stuff. I'd added way more. I was eating way too much meat at the time. I was going out occasionally and having a few drinks with some friends. Not like, a ton of drinks, but even a little bit of drinking is too much if you need to heal from something serious. And that's what I was doing. I was drinking. I was having way too much fats. I was having way too much protein in the diet. Way too many of the wrong things, and then you have this crazy life event that just kind of smacks you in the face, this life like environmental disaster type of thing that just comes your way, and you put those things on top of each other, and it's like you can't heal. Like I possibly could have healed over the course of like 5 years or so, but here I am suffering for the next like year and a half, almost 2 years, and I'm like wondering, well, really like a year, and then like a year and a half is when I started to turn the corner on this thing. But here I am, like after a year, like wondering like why I'm not really, progressing. And it's like, well, that's because I haven't actually dove into healing and doing the right things, going back to square one. And when I went back to square one, not only did I go back to square one of doing like, more of just all the fruits and veggies throughout the day, eliminating all the high fats, eliminating the high protein, quitting the alcohol thing, but I actually went to square one and added in, and from that point forward, which was like 3 years ago or so, lemon water, 32 ounces of lemon water every day, upped my my dose of the celery juice, which actually was only 16 ounces for a number of years, and that was enough for me. I upped it to 48 ounces for a long period of time. For a couple of years straight, I was doing 48 ounces, 32 ounces of lemon water, 48 ounces of the celery juice, and did even more of the heavy metal detox, and added even more of incredible fruits and healing foods like that, and again eliminated for a significant period of time, maybe like 3 to 4 months, went back to the 28-day cleanse and just extended it, and then from that point forward kept that up, not like exactly like 28-day cleanse, but essentially 28-day cleanse for almost a year after that, and lo and behold, just like before, it healed up again. Like everything else, if you do this, if you follow the protocols, if you stick with it, you can heal from any condition, almost any condition out there. And that's why I'm here to help you guys implement it into your life as much as possible, and to help you get from where you're at today to where you want to be with your health. If you haven't joined the community yet, we have an incredible community called Heal with Justin. We talk all about this stuff, many more, how to implement medical medium, any questions around implementing medical medium protocols, how to get you from A to Z faster, how to speed up the healing, how to go through some of the challenges and the struggles and the setbacks and the detoxing and all these things that are in healing, cleansing protocol. We talk about all these things and more, and have an incredible community that is growing by the day. We just came out with this community recently, but it is a rapidly growing and an incredible community already. So click the link below if you haven't joined the community yet, Heal with Justin. And if you are in the community, make sure you make yourself as heard and present as possible. The more you put into the group, the more you're going to get out of the group. So take care. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you soon.